Well, you've been interviewed quite a few times, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
There's always something new. See, when I think about interviewing someone, I try to stay away from the basics, like, because I'm sure you've been asked the same stuff over and over, like the Tennessee stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
tell me about how'd you get started tattooing?
yeah, that's the most common one for like a tattooer. Like, how'd you start?
And no offense, but it's like, I think if people want to know that, they can go find that about Luke Wessman, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can YouTube it. You
Yeah,
can find
probably.
it.
But the cool thing is with tattooers, that everyone did have a different story individually how to start.
That is true.
Because tattooing is so rogue and unique. There's no school you can go to. There's old ways of apprenticeships and stuff, but
Yeah.
there is, but yeah, that's the most common question. Like, how'd you
Get started in
Yeah.
tattooing? Yeah. I always find it curious, and you always do the live stuff on Instagram, and I think I've asked you kind of something similar to this, but and you were gracious enough to answer at that point. But when you do something like tattoo, or you're a musician or an artist, how do you not get, what's the word? How do you blend the two between business and art and not look at it now as like it's a job? Like, or have you gotten to that point where you're like, damn, I'm losing the passion because now it's a job?
I mean, you definitely go through different energies when you're in a profession for 20 something years. I went from being like, I got to do so right by this craft, and I got to honor the guys that come before me, and I got to and that was everything to me. And then it became a job. I owned a couple shops, and I did that. And so I went through these different hills and valleys, but I think the common denominator has always been I love the clientele. I love sitting with people. I love being creative.
Yeah.
And the relationships that have come out of, there's nothing like tattooing. You're sitting with somebody for hours. They're vulnerable, and it's like the most unique setting. So, although it is business, I still love it so much that if I had an income another way, I would still tattoo probably for free.
For free. So you love it that much, the art form.
I love, it's when I feel the most comfortable. It's like my domain. I know the layout of the land.
Yeah.
I'm the most comfortable because I'm not the most extroverted person, but in my tattoo world, I'm like the most comfortable. It's where I feel the most comfortable.
Yeah.
It's my sacred space.
It's your dojo.
So the business versus, passion and pleasure, it's been a good, happy marriage. I love coming in every day.
Yeah.
I'm excited for who I get to sit down with, people like you.
I appreciate
and
that.
You know what I mean? Like I was saying earlier, I always attract good people for some reason. So I'm always excited about the people I sit down with.
That's funny that you say that. So you do feel like you attract a lot of, like, your clientele is good people for the most part.
It's like only good people for some reason. And there's an occasional asshole,
Sure.
but I usually won't see him again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I must be putting out some good mojo into the air, or the tattoo gods are shining down. So I just get wonderful people that are, creative and hustlers and smart, and, all types of good people, from family people to businessmen and women. And
Sure.
yeah, it's just, I think I've just been attracting good people over the years. I've been lucky.
Do you subscribe to that philosophy of like a big manifestation guy, or the energy you put out there is what you get back type of thing? Is that kind of a philosophy that you live by?
Somewhat, like subtly, the PMA thing for sure.
Yeah.
So like the positive mindset, will help give you a positive life. I've definitely been a big fan of that forever. Karma, the golden rule, those philosophies have always kind of been a part of my mind. Treat others how you want to be treated, and have a positive attitude for whatever you're dealing with. And
Yeah.
and I think in turn that helps you have a better life. But I'm not a big overall mantra guy. I just kind of out here doing my thing. Trying to do good, not step on anybody on the way up.
Yeah, that's important, right? And you've come a long way, right? I mean, you've had this career from, like you said, owning your own shops to being on television.
Yeah.
And growing your own brand. You mentioned staying positive. Over the last 2 years, it seems like that's been a very difficult thing for people to do with the pandemic, with just everything going on in the world, and specifically in our nation. Is there anything that you've done when you weren't able to tattoo, I mean, how did you push through when you couldn't meet up with people and tattoo? How did you, number one, stay positive, and number two, keep money coming in?
Yeah, I mean, that was the trickiest. That was the first time in my whole adult life. I mean, I've been tattooing 20 plus years, and if I needed more money, I would work harder, or I would travel to a friend's shop that was busy, and I'd be like, okay, that's how I deal with the situation, like of no income or needing more money for something. And so I've always felt very secure in that. And then when pandemic hit and tattoo shops were closed and like everyone was hiding out,
it's crazy.
I was like, oh shit, like this is the first time in 20 years that I can't just go do what I do to make sure I'm good financially.
Yeah.
And luckily, those 20 years has also been like building a reputation and a name. And so one of my biggest things I did was I don't sell original artwork. I just, from when I first started painting, when I first started tattooing, I was also painting at the same time. And the style was like tattoo art and stuff like that. And I just felt like people didn't pay enough for what it meant to me. So I never wanted to sell these like cheap paintings or whatever. I didn't want to cheapen my work by selling them cheap.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you know, the market wasn't there for like tattoo art or whatever.
Yeah.
So since the beginning of my career, I didn't sell originals. 20 years. I've had art shows where nothing was for sale, and it was like my thing, you know. And maybe it was like a subtle idea of like a retirement of like, okay, when I'm old and I'll have all these originals
later.
I'll sell.
Yeah.
And
once you've built the name, these are gonna be worth even more.
And at the end, you know, or whatever. I mean, this is a 20-year investment in not selling originals.
Yeah.
But then the pandemic hit, and it was like, unlike anything else we've ever dealt with. I said, okay, for this year, whatever's going on, I'm gonna sell original paintings to whoever wants to buy some, and you know, support artists or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got like hundreds of requests.
Oh, that's dope.
And so I just went through those and did commissions for, and I started off the first month, I was like, holy shit, I'm busy. Like, and so I just started painting around the clock.
Damn.
And I was just filling these commissions and different sizes, small. I did a couple huge ones, and I was just like crushing it. Side note, I was going to propose to my girl before the pandemic. And
so
then,
that was already planned.
Yeah, but then once I couldn't work, I was like, I can't propose. I don't even have a fucking job. Like I'm a bum now. So I started selling paintings and seeing that there was I was doing okay. So then it was back on. I was like, okay, I'm not a bum.
Yeah.
I can still make money. I can still earn in a crisis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I did. I sold paintings, and then I tightened up my online stuff. Shirts and hats
and stuff,
artwork and prints, and just became more resourceful in some of the stuff I already kind of subtly had.
Sure.
Just doubled down on it.
Were you selling T-shirts and all that not artwork, but T-shirts and stuff before the pandemic? Because that's kind of sort of. Or?
I never took it serious. I just kind of made a shirt here or there, had some shirts, and hats and stuff, but it wasn't serious. Now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I can focus on this. So I ramped that up. Tripled down on shirts and designs.
Did well, I'm sure too.
It did amazing. I did a nurse shirt that went viral.
I got one of those. Almost wore it today. I'm like, no, it's too on the nose, man. This guy's gonna be like, you're kissing my ass too much.
But luckily I had, my fingers and stuff that, like online sales. I had like the best year I've ever had in my life.
That's awesome.
Because I was able to focus on it, and then selling original art. So people that got original art during that year, I'm like, all right, now I'm not selling any more original art again. So they got something special.
Something special. That is cool.
So that was how I coped with that year. And then now I'm just tattooing again. And
yeah, I mean, the pandemic if it taught us anything, especially as a business owner like yourself, you have to, a lot of these restaurants, businesses, you always have to be ready to pivot if needed, right? To shift, to, adjust, to reinvent, because anything can change at a moment's notice. I mean, you could be in a business where your service is needed, and maybe a law gets passed or something changes or something's invented, and that thing you do is obsolete. It doesn't exist anymore.
And I think those changes might happen faster than they ever used to. I mean, you could probably work a certain job for 10 years in the past, or 20 or a whole lifetime, but now it's like, those industries change, and the flow and what people need change, and you got to be adaptable. And I think that's the key to being a human, and the key to being a businessman is adapting.
Yeah, and as a businessman, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but the ability to have kind of multiple things that are going on, right? So if you're selling the shirts, you're tattooing, obviously you're not selling art anymore, but you know, maybe you're showing up to events, whatever it is, if you've got multiple things going on to where, hey, I can make a little bit of money from each one of those things, you know, it's important to the multiple streams of income, right?
Yeah, and I'm just still trying to figure it out, but yeah, got to have your different fryers in the oven, you know.
juggling a couple different things.
Yeah.
You're not a flashy guy, right? Like you got a lot of tattoos and stuff, but I always notice you'll have these pieces, like you got the Rolex.
Yeah, I got some nice watches.
You got some pieces here and there. You got the gold tooth, which I like. I was trying to convince my wife to let me get a gold tooth, and I don't know if she's going to let me, but...
Luckily, my lady likes it, man, because I've had it for like 15 years. I always wanted more. I wanted all these gold, but one was good for now. It's hard to mess up good teeth for no reason.
Yeah.
But I got this one done in the hood in Miami, in Opelika, Florida. And that's a whole nother story. It's a freaking ghetto, scary place, but
and it stood the test of time.
Yeah. It lasted. It was a long time. I mean, 15 years, maybe 10 years at least.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
In the hood, like bars on the reception desk.
Oh.
Because we were just asking all the brothers, like, hey, where do you get gold teeth? Because in Miami, there's a bunch of people with gold teeth, and they were like, oh, Dr. Kelly's in Opelika. And we're like, all right. So me and my buddy was like, that's where we're going.
What is the process like? I don't even know how that works.
It's a crown. It's like they shave down your tooth and put basically a crown. They don't shave it down as gnarly, I think, as like a professional.
Sure.
Because I think they put like a stub. They make a stub. So yeah, it's like a ghetto version of like gluing a gold cap on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ghetto crowns.
Jeez.
But I always love it.
Whatever works, man. Well, it looks good. I'm jealous. I've always seen it in the pictures and stuff. I'm like, dude, I would look good with the gold tooth, but maybe, I don't think my wife agrees, man. Maybe down the road, you know. Yeah. I just got to say, screw it. I'm just gonna do it, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where don't ask for permission. You ask for forgiveness later, right?
They still love you.
See what happens. You know. Yeah. What you gonna do? You know. Leave me.
Yeah, no, they won't leave you for a gold tooth.
I hope not. Or if they do, it's probably not the right person to be with. So what's next? What's on the horizon? What can people...
what's next?
Obviously, if people follow you, they're seeing all the moves you're making, but you have anything coming up that you're excited about?
I mean, I've got like projects just building, and I hate to jinx them and say, I'm doing a guitar thing for Fender.
Oh, nice.
I do a lot of stuff with Gerber knives, Gerber gear. They're a great partner with me. I do a lot of artwork for their custom stuff.
I've seen you post some of their stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I do a lot of artwork for their custom department. They're doing a lot of engraving on knives and stuff. So they've been a wonderful company to work with. So I'm doing some stuff with them still. I'm working on all kinds of other shit, man. I'm working on some ointment stuff that I've been working on for years, trying to get it right. Had some setbacks.
What is the story with the ointments, right? Because there's so many of them out there. Obviously, you believe in certain ones, right? Like, do they work?
I mean, sure. I just believe less is more. I don't think you need like fucking rose water and sunflower oil and like all
Tears
this
of a Dragon
shit. I just think that there is, for a tattoo, if it's done right, it heals right. That's what I used to always say. But there is a little bit of like, you can get stuff that has some anti-inflammatory or infection properties that might help just a little bit, just in case, So there's like some guards that you can do topically that help, but most of the time it doesn't need it. It's more to soothe it. It's more mental. But there is some like protection barrier stuff and just some like general hydration stuff that's good for it. So I've been working for years trying to figure out the right combination of shit, because I don't want to put a bunch of crap just to sound fancy.
Just
and
to
a
sell,
lot of
just
those
to sell
companies
something.
are putting shit in just because it sounds sexy or whatever. And sometimes they just go all organic because that sounds good too. But there's actually some modern technology that's good for like healing and protection and stuff. So I just been looking at all that, and hopefully by the end of the year I'll drop something.
Cool.
So that's a thing, and then
that's exciting.
Other clothing products and just. I'm just always pushing, working with some liquor brands and stuff. And
you working with tequila?
I work with a tequila company that I did artwork for and do some branding with.
I'm a big tequila
Campo,
guy, man.
And
big tequila guy.
And rum. I've been doing some rum stuff, and
cool.
I've never been a rum guy. And Diplomatico rum is actually really tasty, good rum.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
they won a bunch of awards recently, and they're like a great company. And so I've been kind of messing with their stuff and checking them out, and that's been cool.
So are you a tequila guy? Are you a big tequila guy?
A huge tequila, mostly tequila.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I love
It's one of the only
tequila,
uppers,
man.
right? They got like the tequila.
Dude, I don't know what it is about tequila, but I can drink it for. You can
Yeah.
keep drinking it.
Yeah.
And if it's a good tequila, I know if you drink the bad stuff, you'll
Yeah,
go
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
or you
it'll mess
puke.
with you.
But a
Yeah.
good tequila it goes. You can sip that all night.
Yeah, tequila. I like trying different whiskeys and like breaking stuff down, but I've never been like a super like snob about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I like trying different stuff. I have a few things that are my go-to, but yeah, I feel like tequila is like our main in our household.
Go to. Same with
Yeah.
us. My wife likes tequila too,
Yeah,
which is
tequila,
crazy.
lime, little splash of soda.
Yep.
All day long.
My wife will. She'll even sip the añejo stuff, like, and she doesn't like whiskey, none of that. But for some reason, she's down with the cause, man. So
We just an example of how big of tequila people we are. We went through 9 bottles of tequila on 4th of July.
damn,
Which is insane. It's insane. But I mean, it was also my girl's family and her siblings, friends. So it was a lot of us. But 9 bottles of tequila.
That's a lot of bottles. I feel like tequila has kind of been getting popular too. I don't know where it's been, but it's here now for sure. A lot of people are trying it that maybe stayed away from, because you used to think about tequila, you think like Jose Cuervo Gold, and you just like left a bad taste in your mouth. But there's so many good tequila brands coming out of the woodworks, or maybe they've been there and we just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
But when you go looking for it, you're gonna find it.
I'm still checking it out, but I love it. I love like the jalapeno infused stuff. Like I like tricky stuff like that, but other than that, yeah, just rocks with lime.
Yep. Little Topo Chico or whatever.
Yeah,
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's a good mix. Especially on like a hot day, you can do some on the rocks with just a little lime, You don't need a lot of the sweetness either. I think people kill it sometimes, too much syrupy.
No, I don't mess with that, man.
That's where you get the hangover.
I'm big on like less is more on everything.
Yeah.
Like taste and drinks and everything. Like people are just trying to over tricky stuff, and I hate that. It's like bring it back to simple, and you'll find the clean essence of things.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good note to go out on. Keep it simple, people. Well, Luke, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
My
Appreciate
pleasure,
it.
bro.